Man,
I've been waiting all day for this.
I'm saying. That might be the best sandwich I've ever had. You guys gotta try this at home.
Welcome to Fully Loaded, folks. Today we're gonna show you how to make this. Have you ever wondered how to get the most out of your pit boss? Welcome to Fully Loaded, where I teach you how to unlock the full potential of your pit boss grill. Learn new recipes and pick up strategies to cook full meals. Load those grills to the max and unleash flavor like never before with expert tips and tricks. Pit Boss Fully Loaded is your ultimate grilling guide. All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Fully Loaded. Today we have our guest chef Gustavo is going to be with us today. We're going to be making a traditional pulled pork.
And we're gonna be doing it with an Asian twist.
Not only are we going to be making a traditional pulled pork, we're going to be going over the details of the braising process. Not only is it just for pork butt, but it's going to be for many different cuts, and these techniques can be applied to those cuts as well. Awesome. Also, we're going to be performing our braise on our battery-powered portable.
And then after we braise the pork butt, we're gonna move over to our 3-burner tabletop griddle, so that way we can show you how we do it Budget Boss style.
Make sure you stay tuned throughout the episode because we're going to show you how you can win your very own battery-powered portable.
So make sure you guys stay tapped in to what we got coming next. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and you hit that notification bell so that way you know every single time we're dropping a new video. I'm also going to have a couple of questions about the technique. This is going to be my first time making a pork butt, Kirk, so I'm going to have a couple of questions for you.
Well, don't hold back, man. Ask all the questions you need. I'll walk you through the entire process.
Sounds good, man. Let's get it.
All right, to start off today's cook, we're going to start with a 6-pound Boston butt. We're going to open and season it. We're going to get it right onto the smoker.
Before we get started on this, can I ask you, what is a Boston butt exactly?
The Boston butt is actually located on the upper side front of the pig, when the bottom part is known as the picnic shoulder. Funny history story, the Boston butt, the butchers in Boston at one time they were butchering their pigs and they were packaging the butts themselves into a barrel, which was known as a butt, and hence the Boston butt.
That's good to know.
Right on. So we're going to use our handy Pit Boss shears. We're just going to get right into the packaging. I selected a pork butt that didn't have much fat cap on it, so we don't really have to worry about trimming too much fat on this. Get it out on the board. As you can see, the top of the fat cap, you're going to be looking for somewhere around a quarter to somewhere under a ½ inch of fat cap. So again, it looks pretty nice. I don't have to really worry about trimming too much. There's not anything hanging off or anything of that such. So having said that, we're going to get right into seasoning and get it on the smoker so we can get on with this. Common practice. Once again, one dirty hand, one clean hand to use your spice. I'll start at the bottom. Just going to get a nice even coat. You really don't want too much spice rub on there. You're just seasoning it. You don't want it to cake. Again, this is something that we've talked about in other episodes.
And when we do put it in the smoker, Kirk, are we putting the fat cap side up, or are we putting that on the bottom?
We're actually going to go fat side up, but my theory is that when you put it on the smoker, as that fat renders, it's going to drip over the sides of the muscle and it's going to keep it nice and moist throughout the smoke process.
Awesome. What temperature are we going to be cooking this at?
Today we're going to be doing 225 degrees. Your hot smoking temperatures vary from anywhere from 180 degrees, but not too much over 275 degrees. The further away you get from 275 degrees into the 300s, you start baking instead of smoking, and then your smoke really won't infuse into the piece of meat as much as you'd like.
Okay, sounds good. Well, let's get this on there.
All right, we've been letting this thing do its thing for the last 2.5 to 3 hours. We've been spritzing periodically, but before we move into the next steps, let's talk about our spritz in this particular recipe. We've chose to go with a apple juice and rice vinegar mixture. So we're doing about a 1.5 cups of apple juice to about a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar in our spritz.
Quick question. I know we're using apple juice, but why are we using vinegar in the spritz?
Well, when I spritz and I'm using an acid, typically you have a fatty cut of meat, such like a pork butt. When you use an acid in it, when you go to eat it, the acid actually kind of cuts through the fat, so it doesn't taste so heavy.
Okay.
And so before we move into our wrap and this and that, we're just going to make the example of what it is by using our Pit Boss spritzer bottle. You can pump it up so you don't have to sit there and fatigue your fingers by spritzing periodically. So as you can see here, when we're cooking at a lower temperature, how it looks to be drying out around the outside. This is a natural occurrence. And so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna kind of spritz just to kind of give it a nice little even rinse. And that's really all you wanna do. You really don't wanna go to town on it because you do still want to create a nice bark on the outside of your protein.
Okay.
All right. Now we've reached our internal temperature between 100 and 165 degrees, 163 to be exact. So now we're gonna remove the pork butt from the smoking process and we're gonna move right into our braise. And so if you'd like to give me a hand, we're gonna use our soft touch wide spatula. We're gonna place it in our pan. And we're just gonna leave that temperature probe in there. There we go. Right over here. Now that we have our pork butt in here, we're gonna move into some braising liquids. Exactly just like our spritz, we're gonna be using a mixture of apple juice and rice vinegar. And so all this is a real basic process. Some people like to use butcher paper, aluminum foil. I'm a big fan of using a pan because it tends to hold your braising liquid a little bit better. And so what I got here is 2 cups of apple juice. And we have about a half a cup of rice vinegar that's gonna go into this braising liquid. Now that we have our braising liquid added, we're gonna cover it nice and tight with our Pit Boss aluminum foil, and we're gonna place it back on the smoker, and we're gonna lift our temperature to 350 degrees for the duration of the cook.
Okay. Oh, I see why we left the temperature probe in there.
Yeah. So that way when we go right back on the grill, we can plug our temperature probe back in and we can continue to monitor our internal temperature. Okay. It's not all about cooking time, it's all about internal temperature when we braise.
Heard.
Go right back onto the grill and plug our temperature probe in. And when we close our lid, we're gonna raise our temperature to 350 degrees.
Kirk, I got a quick question. I know I just seen you braise the pulled pork, but can you explain what braising is a little bit more to me?
Okay, so the definition of braising is when a piece of meat or vegetable is slowly cooked under its own liquid, by definition.
Okay.
And so what's happening is that when we added those liquids to that pan, and we sealed it in, it's gonna steam inside of here. And so this is what's gonna help us carry through our stall. And so when you braise, you have fibers in the meat that actually holds your muscle fibers together. They're called elastins. Okay. These elastins start to break down at a temperature at 165 degrees, and they're breaking down at their fastest at 205 degrees. That's why we're gonna let our temperature come up to 205 degrees before we pull it. By that time, all the elastins will be broken down, and we should easily be able to shred our pulled pork.
Making it really, really easy to just pull that meat apart.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, that's really good to know. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so while we're waiting for our pork butt to braise all the way through, let's go over some of our ingredients that we're gonna be adding to our pulled pork after we pull it. So the Asian influence on here is going to be a fried crispy chili flake and oil, and then we also have black garlic that's gonna be one of the main ingredients in this flavoring agent.
Real quick, what is black garlic? I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Black garlic, it is made by taking a whole garlic clove and they put it in a temperature controlled environment that's between 160 and 180 degrees for a number of days until your garlic actually physically turns black. Not only is it has a tasty umami flavor, it's full of a lot of antioxidants, and so it's actually a healthy ingredient in today's mix.
Yeah, it says that these black garlics are a superfood.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's mainly because of the antioxidants that are inside.
Okay, good to know.
And so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna be taking roughly about an ounce of the black garlic clove. We're gonna be taking 1 green onion, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy, and we're gonna take a half a jar. This is about 105 grams roughly. You can eyeball it out of it, but if you'd rather scale it, you can do that too. And we're gonna take this to the kitchen, we're gonna blend it in our food processor and bring it back. By that time, it's gonna be just about time for our pork butt to come off, and we're gonna move into the pull process. All right, well, lo and behold, here it is, about 5.5, 6 hours. This is actually a really quick cook on a small pork butt like this. We are currently at 206 degrees, and we're ready to pull it off the smoker and get right into our pull process.
Let's do just that. That smells really good.
That's where it's at, man.
Yeah. All right, so right now I put on our nitrile gloves with the heat resistant gloves underneath. Make sure you use this so you don't burn yourself and you keep the gloves clean. Then we're gonna be using our new Pit Boss meat shredders to shred up this pulled pork. So let's get straight to it.
All right, first thing first, you can hold your shredders. I'm gonna move this off to the side. I'm gonna remove our temperature probe. And you get to do all the fun stuff today. So I'm gonna have your pan right here. You can remove the pork butt from our braising pan and place it in here. You can remove the bone, and man, you can just get after it with those meat shredders.
Awesome.
Yeah, that bone just kind of falls out of there. Look at that. Successful braise. And then you can use your meat shredders. Oh man, look at that. Look how well that works. Look at the smoke penetration. Got the nice smoke ring.
You got good bark on there.
Dude, those things work like a dream, don't they?
I'm saying, bro, these things are like I'm saying, it's like butter. Because this is all nice and braised and smoked, these things just falling off the bone.
All right, so now that we're at this point, how we're nice and pulled, we're gonna go ahead and add our flavoring agent today. So that chili oil and that black garlic clove that we had, we blended it nice. To the recipe is for about a 6-pound pork butt, and you can add it to taste, and so that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're just gonna kind of mix it as we go. You don't have to use it all, but if you really like it, you can go ahead and use it all. But again, the recipe is for roughly about a 6-pound pork butt. All right. Yeah, I let you do all the hard work, man. I can mix this stuff up real quick.
All right, sounds good.
Oh my goodness, the aroma.
I wish you guys could smell this. Man. And you can really smell that black garlic and the chili oil.
Oh man, not only can you smell it, gotta give it a taste, make sure we got enough in there. On point.
That's bomb. And it's really not too spicy. I expected a lot more spice because we have that chili oil. But no, that's like a perfect blend of all flavors.
And again, that's why we wait to add this stuff at the end, so you can just kind of flavor it to your likings. You can put a lot more in it, or you can go a little bit less, but it has this Asian fusion umami action going on.
I love it. All right, Kirk, I love that we made this pork butt. My Budget Boss gears are working right now. I think that we can make some sandwiches out of this.
Absolutely, man. We're right at about $12 in pulled pork, and just by chance, we happen to have some brioche buns here on hand. Let's get after it, man.
Yeah,
let's see what you got.
Let's build some sandwiches.
All right. Thanks again, folks, for watching another episode of Fully Loaded. If you like what you saw and you would like to enter the sweepstakes, I'll let Gus tell you exactly how you can do that.
So, how you can win the Fully Loaded sweepstakes, which includes this battery-powered portable Pit Boss. We have our competition blend pellets and these 3 spices, which is maple chipotle, competition barbecue, and GSP, garlic, salt, and pepper. All you gotta do is go into the description below, and you're gonna see a link that says enter these sweepstakes. It's gonna give you a couple of options. You guys can like, comment, and subscribe to earn extra entries. Make sure you guys get as many entries as possible so that way you can win the Fully Loaded sweepstakes. All right, guys, so I'm gonna throw these buns on our griddle, and we're gonna get to making these sandwiches.
And there's nothing like a buttery toasted bun with some pulled pork on it.
Always remember, double click does the trick.
What else are you planning to put on this other than the onions?
I think we should put some of this Korean barbecue sauce on top of these sandwiches.
Oh man, get after it, my dude. There's no wrong way to making a barbecue sandwich. A little bit of toasted sesame seeds for the win.
Right, and then I'll throw some green onions on it.
And there you have it, folks. A classic braised pulled pork off the Pit Boss battery powered portable with an Asian twist.
If you guys like this episode, if you guys like this collaboration, make sure you comment what you want to see next. Make sure you guys like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and you hit that notification bell. And also, make sure you guys follow our Budget Boss series, where I show you guys how to make the best out of your budget with the biggest bite.
Teamwork makes the dream work, my dude.
Teamwork makes the dream work, man. I think there's only one thing left to do.
That's right. Let's get after it.
Let's get after it.
Oh.
Man.
I've been waiting all day for this.
That's what I'm saying. That might be the best sandwich I've ever had. You guys gotta try this all on.
I gotta do it again.
Oh yeah.
I really did enjoy that.
Oh, that was really good, man. Food brings so much joy.
See you next time on Fully Loaded, folks.